Justine, and this is Bookends. The topic of the day is hypertext fiction. Basically, choose your own adventure, except instead of flipping through pages, you're clicking through links. I'm going to chat with Stephen Marche, who recently published a book called Lucy Hardin's Missing Period. Lucy wakes up one morning and finds out she's pregnant, but what happens next depends on what you decide she does next. I'm also going to chat with Brooke Ford, who is the associate fiction editor of Broken Pencil magazine, to get other recommendations within the genre. So let's find out about this strange world of hypertext fiction. I've got Stephen Marche with me here at Nicholas Hoare Books, but of course one of the books that we won't find in here is your newest one because it's digital only.
That's right, yeah.
How different is the reward of publishing something when you can't actually, hold it in your hands?
Well, part of it was published in the Walrus, which they did very beautifully, but also it's online, and the design matters just as much online as it does in a print product. So I definitely got the satisfaction of seeing it come into existence. In fact, even more so, because when you write something for a book, you kind of get a sense of it in manuscript and so on. Whereas with this, it didn't really exist in any form until there it was online, and it was just a great feeling.
Why did you decide to write a book in this format?
Well, there were several aesthetic reasons. I wanted to. It started out so simply. I wanted to write a story of a 30-year-old woman in Toronto and the choices that she faces in her life. And it seemed to me that the traditional mode of the novel, where it went from beginning to end, just seemed fraudulent.
But what is it like as an author to not be able to control how your readers experience your book, because they can choose any path that they want in any order and start from beginning to end again in various orders? But
you have no idea, even in the most traditional, in a newspaper column that you write, you have no idea how readers are going to react to it. I mean, I'm the last person to know how people react to my work. I mean, my first book, I remember, Raymond and Hannah, when it came out, I thought what was really interesting about it was this online relationship that this couple had, and then every single review talked about sex, nothing but sex. And suddenly I was a sex writer, right? I mean, and I had no idea that was going to happen. Interpretation is readers always control what happens to a book. No one, and that doesn't change with something as minor as the internet. That's part of the deal of reading words on a page.
Do you believe in fate, or do you think that your life depends on, the path that you choose on a daily basis?
That's an interesting question. I mean, because that is the difficulty of the book. I mean, that is what I wanted to get at, is, in a typical novel, any of those novels right there, implicitly has the idea of fate in it. I mean, implicitly it has, when you open the first page, there is a last page. I don't really believe that. I think I believe there are choices, and that there are things that are almost accidental, or are accidental, that shape who we are and what becomes of us. But in a way, of course, I think that's also more fatalistic. That there are things that come out of that where we're just riding on a current that we have no control over. I mean, it's not this form that I've chosen is not like you choose this and then you choose that. It's more like I decide to have yogurt in the morning, and on the basis of that, I either have a baby or not. Right? I mean, there are these kind of very minor choices lead to these enormous consequences.
Well, as I read the book, or read it over and over and over again, choosing different paths.
Yes.
From all the paths that I chose, I found that there was one ending that was sort of like the happiest ending.
Right.
From the perspective of the character, anyway. It seemed to me like she ended up happiest in one of those endings.
Which one?
Well, I don't want to say.
Well, I mean, they can read it. I mean, let's not. It's hard to have a spoiler when there are 7 different endings. I mean,
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, in one of those, I'll just say in one of those endings, she seemed happiest.
Yeah.
Do you think that life is like that? That there's one specific way to live that will lead to the happiest possible ending?
I'm not sure she's happiest in either of the choices. I mean, I think in some of them, it ends with her having an abortion, which is traumatic, and the other one, she has a birth, which is sort of joyful. But I'm not sure.
That's the one that I'm talking about.
But I'm not sure that that's the same as happiness. I mean, I'm not sure that in one of them she's free. she has more fun. And in the other
But
words,
then she
she's
says
more.
that she feels empty inside.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are sort of the choices: fun and empty, or exhausted and joyful. Right? I mean, I don't know.
So one isn't necessarily better than the other.
No, I don't think so.
Great. Thank you so much for
it was
joining me
lovely.
today. Thank you,
Yes.
Stephen. Now I've got Brooke Ford with me, associate fiction editor with Broken Pencil magazine, to talk a little bit about hypertext fiction. Is it changing the relationship, this digital publishing between the reader and the author?
Yes, very much so, but not changing it drastically in the sense of something new. I think it's emphasizing the aspects of the relationship that already exist between a printed book and its reader and an author who writes printed books and the author and that reader. So I think that some of the things that get emphasized are maybe perhaps a more collaborative relationship between them.
Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that we've got this ADD these days with the video games and watching movies and TV and on our Blackberries all the time, and we can't just read a regular book from front to back anymore?
Well, I'm not so sure, because I think reading in general is extremely popular right now. Just with across generations, I think youth are very interested in reading, and I think that comes from both sides. I think that comes from an online perspective, and as you say, like a handheld technological perspective, and I think also printed books. I think teen fiction in terms of series are very, very popular right now.
So you have some recommendations here, some other authors who write hypertext fiction. So who are they?
Susan Gibb is one writer who publishes frequently. Richard Holton is another author, and Todd Seabrook.
All of these authors' names and all the links, all the information from today's episode will be on our website, bookendstv.com.